How I build $1 million Shopify websites and funnels in 2026. My name is Jeff from Daydreamers, and we've built hundreds of pages and websites, funnels for 6 to 9 figure DTC e-commerce brands. And in this video, I'll show you how you can do it yourself for your brand. Before we start, here's a link to getting free resources, swipe files, templates, and more. Just click on this link here that I'll leave in the description, and you'll get free resources and swipe files, examples, things you can steal, things you can apply and use immediately. So I just want to throw that out there before we start. Real quick, why most Shopify pages or brands fail. And after building hundreds of pages, working with a bunch of different multi-million-dollar brands and helping scale dozens of them past 7 figures per month, I'm going to kind of go over why some Shopify brands fail, why some succeed, and how you can kind of build the entire process of your process from start to finish. So going from absolute zero to a fully built high converting Shopify website funnel. We're going to be going over like the wireframing process, copywriting, design, and building pages in Replo. So this is everything. You're going to get the full system that we use for the brands that we work with. And ultimately, by the end of it, you'll learn how to build pages that actually convert. So going from like a blank page all the way to a live page. So we'll go over the strategy, wireframes, copywriting, design, and then development. So let's get right into it. Also, quick note, all pages sections that you see in this video are designed and built by our team, Daydreamers. You can visit daydreamers.studio, our website, for more info, more examples, and again, also get access to those free resources and all that. Let's start with part one, the strategy and wireframing, and go over the 3 mistakes that's killing your conversions. So before we get into anything else, before we build anything, you need to understand why most Shopify brands fail to convert. And these are the 3 biggest mistakes, the common mistakes that we see. Mistake number 1 is building generic homepages and messaging. So most brands try to appeal to everyone, so they end up connecting to no one. So headlines like premium quality products or welcome to our store means nothing. It's not specific. It's so vague that it can be for any brand, skincare, coffee, even dog food, right? The problem is your ideal customer lands on your page and wonders, thinks, is this for me? And they see something like this, premium quality products, which mean nothing, which says nothing, and then they leave. So the fix, your solution is to be as specific about who you are, who you serve, and what problem you actually solve. So instead of saying something as simple as like premium sleep supplements, be specific and say something like the sleep solution busy moms over 35 are switching to. Instead of quality skincare, say something like clean skincare for sensitive skin, results without irritation, right? Specificity creates clarity, and clarity in turn creates conversions and makes it easy for people to connect with what you're saying and then purchase. The second mistake is no pre-sale for cold traffic. So a lot of brands, probably those that you are watching, you're probably driving or spending money on ads like Meta ads, Google, stuff like that, right? But the problem is you're sending all your traffic to the same generic product page. Someone who's never heard of your brand before has clicked on an ad talking about better sleep, how you can solve their sleep problems, and they land on your generic product page that says something like magnesium supplement for $29.99. There's zero connection, zero context about what the ad is saying to the page that they're landing on. And the ultimate problem is that product pages assume people already trust you and know what your product does. But cold traffic, the traffic that's coming in from your ads, they typically don't know you. They probably have never even heard of your brand before. So they need education first. So before anyone buys, they need to believe 5 basic premise things, which is I have this problem. They have to believe they have a problem. Secondly, they have to think that the product that you're promoting, you're showcasing can solve it for them. Then going more specific, granular, that this product is someone like me. It's for someone like me, right? And then to go even more specific and granular is that they actually believe that your solution, your product is actually going to work for them. And then the fifth is just idea of there's no risk in trying it or buying it. A product page assumes that they already believe all 5 and they're ready to purchase, which that is further from the truth. Cold traffic, they're probably stuck at the first or second beliefs, right? So the fix, we went over the problem, is that they don't trust you. The fix is to use ad specific targeted landing pages first. We're at the pre-sale bridge page. We're going to talk about this later, but just simply educating the problem, build belief around your solution, establishing trust, shift beliefs, and it warms up the cold traffic to get to your product page, which then it will convert the warmed up traffic where you can focus more on your offer and urgency, handling any final objections, and ultimately drive purchase. So landing pages educate, they build trust, they shift belief, they ultimately warm people up, mainly because you can be hyper specific on curating specific content that is made for the ad and the avatar's angle and messaging, right? Again, clarity leads to conversions, and that's what this is built off of. You can be hyper specific on what the ad says and build a page around that. Because then by the time they click on your product page, they're ready to buy. Third mistake is having weak offers and not testing enough. Most brands think that their offer is just a discount, 10% off, free shipping. Every brand does that, so it's not compelling, right? So your offer isn't just the price, it's the overall total perceived value that you're presenting. So a weak offer, something that everyone else does, is one bottle for $29. You get 10% off if you subscribe. A stronger offer is like an all-encompassing, full service, full stack, like value stack solution. Something like 3 bottles plus a free travel tin plus a recipe ebook, and the ebook probably helps get the solution that you're promising, so it works with the supplement that you're selling. Total value is $120, but you can get yours now for $79. Subscribe and save 20%, save even more. You get free shipping forever, get money back guarantees, maybe like lock in a price, cancel anytime, stuff like that. The difference is the strong offer stacks value, right? It shows savings and removes risk. And that's the difference. And the second part to that is most brands only test ads, but never pages. So if your page doesn't support your ad angle, it doesn't matter how good the creative is, because there's going to be a lack of continuity between the ad and the page. So the fix is to build stronger offers, test your pages, and match your pages to the ad, right? And a quick recap is just be more specific with your messaging, use landing pages to pre-sell your cold traffic, and stack value and start testing offers and pages. All right, so now that we got that out of the way, let's kind of go into the different page types and when to use them. This is going to be like the blueprint for everything that we do. I'm going to be going over like a homepage, product page, and landing pages. This is just like the basic three combo that most brands need, and will kind of get you from 0 to building a 7-figure, 8-figure brand. So the homepage is number 1. This is like your welcome mat. Your homepage is for people who already somewhat aware of your brand. Of course, it's for everyone. Everyone's going to ultimately come to your homepage, and it's typically used as like a navigational guide. You're communicating what your brand is, your core value proposition. You're trying to build trust and credibility fast, and ultimately guiding them to the right product or to the right page that they're looking for. So it's not necessarily to close them or to sell them immediately. You're simply just building interest and directing the traffic to whichever collection page or product page, or even like a science page if relevant, right? So it's pretty much just like a welcome mat that communicates your overall unique proposition as far as like what you're selling and for who and what problem you're solving, all that stuff that we talked about, and then directing that attention, that interest over to like a product page, for example. Then we could talk about the product page, which is the actual closer. This is where the conversion happens. And product pages are typically for the warmer traffic, people that already know they have a problem, your product solves it, and they're deciding whether to buy. So this is more for like your bottom of funnel. If we're talking about top of funnel, bottom of funnel, your homepage is more like top of funnel. Again, this is just top of funnel, bottom funnel is arbitrary. This is just to kind of help you understand the difference of like a cold traffic visitor versus like a warm visitor. But they're simply comparing you to different competitors, reading reviews, checking your guarantee, and seeing if your offer is strong enough for them to take action, right? This is an example of a PDP that we built for a skincare brand, but pretty much has everything that you need. And ultimately, the goal is to present your offer clearly, to stack that value right in your offer. And you bundle subscriptions, gifts. In this case, we have different quantities as well as different subscriptions, removing any objections. So FAQ, guarantees, reviews, right? So we have trust reviews here, and I'll show you the full page later, but we also have FAQ, of course. And then ultimately just making adding to cart and purchasing frictionless, right? We don't necessarily over-educate, just close the people that are already interested with a really strong offer, simply explaining what it does, the different benefits they can receive, and then get them to add to cart. The third is landing pages. This is like your bridge. Landing pages are typically for colder traffic, people who clicked on an ad but don't know you yet. So these pages typically do like 80% of the persuasion before someone gets to your product page, your sales page. So this is like your typical like listicles, advertorials. Listicles are typically like a scannable, curiosity driven, quick to consume and kind of skim through. This right here is an example of a listicle. And then advertorial is just more story based. Feels like content. It's more like narrative based. So kind of like a story, more longer form typically. And it's usually helpful for brands that require a lot more education or explaining and just increasing the length of the sales process because of how complex the product is. But those are the two typical types that you'll see when it comes to landing pages. Both do the same job, of course, which is just to warm up your cold traffic so they're ready to buy when they hit your product page. That's super important, which is why I call it as the bridge between your ad to your product page. And by the way, if you guys want us to build your brand a better conversion system or just better pages, click the link below to talk to me directly. If you are actually serious about building better pages. Again, we work with mostly 7, 8 figure brands. So it's not for brands that don't have any budget. So if you're actually serious about scaling your brand in 2026 and moving forward, book a call here and you could talk to me directly. I'll also leave a link to the pricing and our services in the link below as well. The next thing that we're going to kind of go over is just being aware of like your traffic temperature. So this is what we talked about before, of just like the cold traffic, warm traffic, hot traffic. And this, again, this is not a a rule that you have to like follow to the T. This is just a basic framework or a guideline of like what to follow, right? It's typical cold traffic. You need more education because they never heard of you. So that's when you send them to a listicle advertorial to warm them up, and then to a product page, right? Warm traffic, they know you exist. So maybe any like retargeting ads that you're sending, send them to a product page or a targeted landing page. Hot traffic, they're ready to buy or they've bought from you before. So this is like your email list, all this stuff. Send them to a collection page or a product page with your strong offer. This is the only example that you'll see that's not from us. This is from Java Coffee. They just do extremely well of just breaking up their funnel with 2 main pages. They have their ad here. They send their most of their traffic to listicle, and then that call to action button will go straight to their product page. This is their sales page. They have a really strong offer, say 56% plus 4 free gifts. And again, this is a really strong offer. It's a really simple funnel, and this is something that you can steal, you can use for your brand. It's something that we do for our clients as well. So again, this is just to kind of just help you to think about everything before you actually build, right? Because you can just go straight into building, that's fine, but you're gonna be missing a lot of things to get to that point. And this is simply just to do all the prep work, where people say like, if you give me 4 hours to chop down a tree, I'm gonna spend the first 3 hours sharpening my knife or axe or whatever. Like that's like an Abraham Lincoln quote, I think, or something. Like that's the whole premise of this, is simply to do all the prep work to sharpen your axe and kind of just get you ready to then start chopping. So again, you can start chopping immediately, but it might be in your best interest to kind of plan and strategize beforehand. And that's what we're also going to do in the next phase right here, which is going over the 4 main research and strategy pillars. So we typically, before we even open up Figma or Shopify or Replo, before you write any copy, we like to do research. I'm not talking about spending weeks on this. This is not necessary. I'm simply talking about answering 4 basic questions that will inform every decision you make moving forward, right? These 4 pillars apply to the 3 pages that we just discussed, the home, product, and landing pages. And we're going to break them down. But again, this is just to help you strategize and kind of plant your seeds before you move to building. So the first pillar, understand who you're talking to. And I don't mean something as generic as woman 25 to 45, right? Because that's too broad, that's too generic. What we want to do is break it down and go super, super specific. Like their age range, sure, like, but narrow it down. 35 to 50 years old, not 25 to 75 or 65, right? What's their lifestyle? Like what kind of person is this as far as who your ideal customer is, right? Is she a busy mom, a corporate professional, a fitness enthusiast, right? What problem keeps them up at night, right? So now we're going into their psychology of like, what issues do they currently have? What have they tried before, mainstream alternatives or the different competitors that didn't work, right? Or maybe it does work, things that they like about it. And what do they value? Is it convenience, quality, status, specific ingredients? The more specific you can get, the better your pages will perform, because again, it goes back to one of the principles that we talked about before, which is you have more specificity that leads to clarity, and clarity leads to conversions, right? Because when you know exactly who you're talking to, you can speak directly to them, right? So instead of saying get better sleep, you can say finally sleep through the night without grogginess, even with your children's busy schedule. Right? So this is talking about like a parent who has a hectic schedule with their kids, they're not getting sleep. And again, more specific you can be, because you're talking specifically to a specific person with a specific problem, right? So again, you don't even have to write these answers down. It's just a matter of just thinking about them. Like just think about who you're selling to, be specific, and spending 30 minutes just thinking about this and jotting down notes will help you build a better page than not doing this. The second pillar is understanding or figuring out what specific problem are you solving, right? And this doesn't include like what your product is. It's more talking about what problem it fixes. What problem does your product solve? Because people don't buy products specifically, they buy the solution to the problem that product will solve. So understand what your what the problem you're solving for, right? So again, once you identify who you're talking to and selling to, you can extrapolate what is their biggest problem that they have. Is it physical? Is it emotional, social, or is it about time? Right? Again, maybe it's not any of these, but these are just to help you kind of ask yourself questions and get super specific about the specific pain point and their problem. And one key point to note is that you want to use their language, not your language. Especially as brand operators, we want to sound cool and nuanced and fancy, but it doesn't really mean anything to the average consumer, right? Something like that sounds cool might be like optimize cognitive function, but some people might not even know what that means, right? Or it's not even the words that they use, right? Your target audience might say something like, "My brain feels foggy. I have brain fog." That's something that they actually say. So you saying that to them, back to them, they will feel connected and understood. That just gives you them that specificity that they need to feel connected and then to purchase, right? Something like, don't say enhanced dermal hydration. Kind of sounds cool, but does the average person know what you mean? Instead, say my skin is so dry it hurts, right? Because then you're targeting the specific problems that they're facing. And you can do this and like actually finding the specific language and words and messaging, all that, by just reading customer reviews, Amazon reviews, Reddit threads, Facebook, Instagram comments. Basically just see what language people actually use when they talk about their problems. And then that's the language you're going to use on your pages. Again, you won't find this out unless you actually spend time doing the research and strategizing this, which is why it's so important. Pillar number 3 is understanding or asking yourself, why is your solution better? Not just what it is, why is it better than everything else out there in the market, right? So like what makes you different? What's unique about your brand or your product? Is it a unique ingredient? Is it easier to use, faster, or more effective? Is it cleaner? Are there better ingredients? Is it safer, more natural? Find what makes you different and really double down on that, because that's your unique mechanism, your differentiator. And the key thing is you need to be able to explain it simply. So the average like 10-year-old, 12-year-old will understand it too. Because if you can't explain why your product is different in just like a simple sentence, you need to figure that out before you build anything. And the reason for that is because if you don't know why you're better and if you can't articulate it clearly and simply, your customer definitely won't understand it. Right. And that's a basic premise of when it comes to communicating or just marketing in general, of especially when it comes to like landing pages or just your proper funnel, is making it stupid simple to understand. Because if your shopper, your customer is confused, they definitely won't purchase. Confused shoppers don't make a purchase, right? So again, be specific with what it is you're saying. And here are some examples. But again, what makes you different? Write it down, internalize it, strategize around that. Now, the last pillar, pillar 4, asks what are your customers' objections, right? Every customer has objections, doubts, concerns, questions. Your job is to figure out what those are and address them on your pages. So like common objections like, will this actually work for me? Because I've tried other products like this before. Is it safe? Is it too expensive? How long till I actually see results? What if I don't like it? I need to think about it, right? You want to list out every objection that you can think of. And this is also where reading like Reddit reviews, Reddit threads, customer reviews, stuff like that helps, because you're able to see what your shoppers are actually looking for, right? Because then once you understand every objection, then you can, like, once you get into the wireframing portion, we can create specific sections and content that address these objections, right? Because if you don't handle these objections, people won't buy. They're going to leave. They're going to forget about you, right? There's many, many brands just like this. So you want to do your best to be specific in that and to actually address exactly what those objections are proactively. Because when you do that, when you address objections, you remove the friction of purchasing. So people naturally want to buy stuff, especially if you're solving a problem for them. You just need to build that trust and make their decision easy as possible, right? So write those down. What are your 5 to 10, 20 different objections your customers have? And then again, strategize around that. Just to recap, we have the 4 research pillars. Who are you talking to? Be specific. What problem are you solving? Use their language. Why is your solution better? And what are their objections? Spend an hour just thinking about that. You don't have to write it down. You can if you want. In my opinion, it's better to write down notes. But again, it's just a matter of spending time to actually plant your seeds here and sharpening your axe before you build anything else. And again, if you want free resources, swipe files, templates, like our Figma wireframe library that we're about to go over, click on my opt-in link here. Just throw in your email and you'll get full access, the full link to the doc that will have all the different resources, swipe files, templates, and all that. Okay. So let's get right into page goals and section planning, because every page type has a different goal and these different sections. So again, we're going to go over the home page, product page, and the landing page, a listicle in this video. Of course, there's many other landing pages, but a listicle is the most simplest one. So anyways, let's start with the home page. Again, these are all basic wireframe like templates that we have in our library. Again, you'll have access to this, like this whole library right here is broken up by different sections and different page templates as well. But let's go through each section, a basic section of the home page and product page and landing page. Again, these are modular. These are just a basic guideline, a blueprint. It's not a hard rule that you have to follow. All right. Just want to make that clear. So section number one is the hero. Just have a clear headline, product image, CTA, right? Of course, you can have any sub headlines, value proposition, stuff like that. But basically just the most important thing is just communicating through a really strong headline. After that, we like to show the product showcase, 3 to 4, 5, 6 products, preferably like your best sellers. Best sellers are there for a reason because they're your highest converting products, right? They're probably the products that have the highest revenue percentage of everything else. So that's what you want to focus on. Social proof, like reviews, testimonials, videos, images before and after, stuff like that. Some sort of brand story or unique differentiator, right? Why you exist, why you're different. We got your value props, or like free shipping guarantees or any specific things about your brand that's relevant. And then just like a final CTA. That's basic sections of a homepage. Again, we're going to go over more of this. I have an example that I'll show you. We'll get to that. These are just basic sections. Moving on to the product page. First section is always like your buy box, right? We have your images on the left. We have like the product title information. We have the options, add to cart button, stuff like that. Benefits, right? 3 to 5, 6. Again, this number is arbitrary, but just scannable text blocks sections talking about the specific benefits that they can receive. Now we're talking about social proof, right? Reviews, before and afters, again, videos, images, whatever visual content or whatever thing to kind of leverage your past customer success stories. You want to plaster that all over your page. Then like how it works is sometimes useful, like a 3-step process breaking down the mechanism or the process of how to get the desired outcome that you're promising. Any product details, FAQ, frequently asked questions. We have a guarantee or risk reversal, and then it's like a final CTA again. Listicle is super simple. We have a hero section, of course. We have a headline, the quick little intro, and then the reasons after that. So each with a headline, explanation, and image, some social proof, and then a soft call to action that will link to your product page. Again, these sections, you don't have to stick to them specifically. They're just used like a guideline. And the key to every page, this is the most important thing, is that every section should address a specific belief, objection, bias. It should serve a purpose. Each section has to serve a purpose, not even just a section. Each element, each word, each image, even icons should serve a purpose. So it's not just randomly throwing stuff together. You want to be specific and strategic with what it is that you're putting up, right? Each thing, each element, section, aspect of the page should do some sort of lift to get them closer to purchasing. That's the ultimate goal. All right. Now let's move on to the next thing, or just like a quick checkpoint of just before you design, write, or build anything, just answer these questions. We talked about some of them, but again, this is just to kind of help you think about some things here, which is the awareness levels, right? Where is the traffic coming from? Are they unaware, problem aware, solution aware, or brand aware? If they're problem aware, they understand they have a problem. Start and build around the actual problem. If they're solution aware, if they're aware, they know about the different solutions that can solve their problem, start with your unique mechanism, like your differentiator of why you're different, because they're probably comparing a bunch of different options, right? If they're most aware, if they know your brand, they know your product, just lead with a really strong offer and get them over the hump just with urgency to get them to purchase, to get them over the finish line. The second is just like review mining. Again, this is the research that we talked about before, but kind of just go over or highlight top 3 recurring praises and top 3 anxieties found in the 5-star review and the 1-star reviews, right? Because you want to turn the praises, all this positive stuff about your brand product, into headlines and sections. And then the anxieties, like the concerns, the problems that they have, into like risk reversal sections, right? Again, we're leveraging the language that they're using. We're leveraging the specificity of what they're talking about. That way we can create curated specific content for them. And again, you aren't looking for it's good, it's great product. You're looking for specific words and vocabulary that customers use, right? Because if they say something like it doesn't feel greasy, like if we're talking about like a skincare thing where some skincare makes the face oily, and that's a common praise, your headline could be like the non-greasy formula for skincare or something, like again, using your customer language you reverse engineer that, and that way you can be more specific with what you're talking about. Lastly, just your unique positioning, your unique mechanism, like what's the magic inside your brand or product. It's not just talking about your moisturizer. It's about like what specific differentiator is there. Maybe it's like a specific ingredient or a mechanism or technology, right? The reason why this is so important is because most operators randomly throw things together without actually understanding why. And all this just simply gives you a better framework to think and move from. Again, we're planting these seeds. Everything that we discuss here, we're planting the seeds to then make everything else much easier. Where we're going to wireframe it all, we're going to design it and build it. But again, this is just to make that process much easier because from now we're planting the seeds, we're sharpening our axe, we're doing the research, and we're strategizing based on that research. And ultimately, the final product will be that much better. So now let's move into the actual wireframing process, which is simply just planning out the page to then help us when we design. So this is a basic wireframe of a product page that we use to then design and build a product page. Wireframe is where you plan the structure before you design. It's like a blueprint, right? It's just basic boxes, text, not really focused on the images or the colors or fonts. We're just focusing on the structure, specific layouts, just to kind of help. Again, it's a blueprint to help us plan and execute, right? We have ingredients and benefits, same thing, ingredients and benefits, right? We have a little video, comparison. We have the comparison here. And this is where you can get my Figma wireframing system. I should quickly show you here. A bunch of different sections. We have hero sections, value prop bars, strips. We have different buy boxes, different features, image, text, a bunch of different sections that you can use. And it just helps kind of just wireframe out the page. So I'm going to quickly show you how to wireframe using this Figma file that we have just to kind of help you flow everything. And when you click on this link, just duplicate it so you can have access to it. Just hit duplicate. That way you can edit it and comment yourself because you won't be able to touch this one. Yes, you can copy it, but you won't be able to manipulate any sections that I use. So just make sure you duplicate it. Just go to duplicate and you'll be able to manipulate and edit all the different sections here. Let's start out with the basic wireframe. Just like say we're building like a homepage, for example. Start with the hero section that we have here, right? And then let's say we want to use the product grid that we have. So let's say product cards. I like this one right here. So we'll take this one. We'll copy and paste it, Command C, and then Command V to paste it, right? So we got the hero product grid. Maybe let's say we want some social proof, right? So then let's get this one right here. I like this one. We'll copy that and paste that. And then we can throw that one there. Right, so we got the hero product grid, some social proof. Maybe we can talk about like specific benefits. Maybe I kind of like this one right here. So let's do that. And in fact, let's actually move the features before social proof, something like that. And then there's like last little section. Let's get like a CTA. No, let's get like a value prop type of section. So maybe like the thing where we talk about specific things about the brand. Something like that, right? We talk about founder story or unique differentiators, whatever. And then that's pretty much like a basic wireframe of a homepage, as simple as that, right? Because then, of course, we can throw in our nav bar and footer as well. So we got the footer here with the nav bar here. And then, therefore, you can see we have the full basic wireframe. Nav bar, hero, product grid, like a features, unique mechanisms, some social proof, brand value props, and then the footer. It's as simple as that, right? And again, this is just to plan out the page. Again, just a basic blueprint. It's quick, it's easy, but it's also effective. And that's why I'm showing it to you right now. Because then from there, you know exactly what you need to write for copy, what images you need, the basic layout, and it just pretty much helps set everything else. And again, click on this link to access to get all of this available to you. Again, just throw in your email and you'll be redirected directly to that page. Let's go over like an actual example. This is from Yala Formulas. And I want to quickly just show you the actual process using a real project. This is a brand that sells like halal certified supplements. And we built their homepage and product page from scratch. And I want to show you like the basic process to do all that we used to do all that. So step one, like we talked about research, answering the four main pillars. Again, we went much more specific, but this is just like a recap. This is just a summarized version. But for who is most customers who want supplements but struggle to find halal certified options that they can trust. The problem is most supplements aren't halal certified, and even when they are, quality is questionable. The solution is halal certified, third-party tested, clean ingredients, transparent. Objection, is it really halal? How do I know if it's high quality? What's in it? Right? This just gives us a basic starting point for everything else that follows. Right? And you'll quickly see the basic wireframe that we had, and then the final result of the page that we designed. For the home page on the left, and then the product page on the right. For the most part, the final design kind of reflects what the wireframe presented for us. It just made it easier for us to design and work off of. So then we can talk about the homepage wireframe, specific hero, right? Your health, your beliefs, halal certified. We're specific on what we're doing. And of course, the image helps clarify that we're selling supplements. Product showcase, we have the three main products, the collagen, the vitamin D, and the multivitamin. We also have specific like sub headlines and things to kind of communicate more of the product itself and what it does. Something as simple as like collagen is for stronger nails, smoother skin, healthier joints. Right? Brand story or just like unique mechanism, standard we wish existed, so we built it. It's basically just like why this brand's a thing, what makes it unique, or so why it's relevant, basically. Halal certified is just another differentiator, right? A large badge proving certification. We also have testimonials and then a final CTA. Shop now. But again, each section has a basic purpose and each address a specific need or objection or just a specific purpose of what we need to communicate. Moving to the product page. This is a basic wireframe of the buy box section, right? We have the image on the left, carousel, image carousel, and then we have the actual buy box, the selection portion on the right, where we have the product title, we have the USPs here, we have the different variants of the options, the purchasing options, call to action button, or add to cart button, and then just basic objection handling or just key information that is readily available, accessible if they want to read up on it. Afterwards, we have the different benefits, right? Stuff like smoother, firmer skin, healthier, stronger hair, stronger nails, stuff like that. Then we can talk about the ingredients, how to use, basic 3 steps, and then a halal certificate again because it's important because it's their unique selling proposition. So just having something like that, more reviews, FAQ, and all that. But basically, we for design we followed the wireframe as the guide, right? And then we added basic brand colors, fonts, images, all that. But we didn't waste time moving things around. We already kind of knew what we needed and we designed based on that. So which is why like doing the work beforehand helps in the long run because you're not scrambling and randomly throwing stuff together. I actually put together a really solid design video where I break down over 22 full pages and like dozens of actual individual sections of pages and section that we actually designed for various 6, 7, 8, 9 figure brands that we work with. So I'll leave this in the description as well. Just if you want to go deeper into the design aspect, I'm not going to go too deep into this. So if you want to see more designs, click on this YouTube link here. And if you want us to build pages for you guys, build better pages, build a full conversion system, like a full funnel, click the link below or click right here to book a call to speak to me directly. And of course, as always, I'm going to leave the link to our website here. But basically, key takeaways from this process is first, research, right? Identify the ICP, which is the ideal customer profile, identify their main objections and the unique differentiator. We're going to wireframe out the page, which is to map out every section based on the research we did. Plan out and kind of structure the overall layout of the page, and then we're gonna move to design. Right, using the wireframe again. We don't have to follow it exactly, but it's just used as a blueprint. It's just a guide to help kind of plan and help kind of sharpen our thinking and strategy around it. And then the result is just a clean, clear page that converts well. Every section has a purpose, and again, no guessing, no wasted effort. So the basic lesson is wireframe save you time. Again, it's not absolutely necessary, but it just gives us clarity. It makes the design process faster. Because if not, at times you'll waste hours in design trying to figure out what goes where. And you're kind of scrambling, especially when you move into Replo or Shopify. If you don't know what you're really doing, it makes the process much harder. So having some sort of blueprint or a plan, even just like a sketch of what you want the page to look like or to communicate, you should do so because everything else becomes much easier. And that's basically the ultimate process, basic process. So we're going to get into the rest of the process of like the copywriting, the designs, the building, all that. But this is the basic process for everything before that, which is the research, strategy, the wireframing. Second part we're going to go over is the copywriting, right? So now that we have the wireframes, we know what sections we need and where they go. Now we need to fill those boxes with words and content and visuals, obviously, but let's just focus on the copywriting, right? And not just any words, copy that actually converts, right? And this is where most brands mess up because again, they write copy that sounds good to them, but it doesn't mean anything. It's not relevant. It's not specific enough. It doesn't connect with the shopper, the customer. So let's talk about how to actually write copy that sells. We're going to go over things like core principles, how to write a copy for each page, specific headline formulas, and how to write the key sections, all that. But first, let's go over the 4 main principles that pretty much apply to everything that we write. So let me just, okay. Principle number 1, again, clarity over cleverness. The more specific we can be, the more straightforward we can be, the better. Because your copy needs to be instantly understandable. If someone has to read your headline twice to get it, you probably lost them. Especially with the climate these days of we have low attention spans, so you have ultimately just basically a one chance to make an impression. So instead of something stupid like unlock your inner radiance, which some people might say it sounds cool, but again, doesn't mean anything. So something that's better is something that's more specific, like clear your acne in 30 days without harsh chemicals. You can even say clear your acne without without using harsh chemicals. That's more specific. You have a timeline, a specific problem, and handling specific objections, which is the like harsh ingredients, right? Clarity wins every single time. That's the first pillar. Second principle is prioritizing benefits over features. We talked about this before, but focusing on what the customer actually gets when using a product. So something like sleep better, feel better without the dentist bill, helps protect against chipped teeth and gum recession, helps stop jaw pain, headaches, and poor sleep. Risk-free 30-night money-back guarantee. This is focused on the actual features and like what they receive, right? It's less on what the product is. Like it's made out of this material. We can use these drop-downs, the accordions below or other sections to talk about the specific features or ingredients or whatever the case may be. But if that's less important than the actual benefits, you want to prioritize that. You want to prioritize the benefits and what they actually get versus the features, right? Because people buy solutions. They don't buy products, they buy what the product can do and solve for them. So, yeah, people don't care what your product has, they care about what it does for them. So, the feature could be 10 grams of collagen peptides. The actual benefit is stronger hair, glowing nails, or glowing skin, and healthier joints. That's what you want to focus on because that's what they're looking for. They're simply using the collagen as the mechanism, the vehicle to help them get this result that they're looking for. Another feature is like made with magnesium glycinate, but they don't really care about that. They care about falling asleep faster and waking up refreshed. And that's what you have to prioritize because people buy outcomes and not facts or features. So stuff like clears acne without the angry red reaction or flaking, works in 3 to 4 weeks, simple 10-second routine, strengthens their skin barrier without destroying it, right? Principle number 3 is to use their language and not yours. Again, all these seem familiar because we talked about this, but we're going more specific. Again, don't say something stupid like optimize cognitive function. Say I can finally focus without brain fog. Don't say something stupid like enhanced dermal hydration. Say my skin doesn't feel dry and tight anymore, right? If you can use real language, real words from your customers, your shoppers, or even from your competitors' customers, the better because you'll be able to resonate with them much more. So again, read reviews, read social media comments, read forums, see what words your customers are actually using, and then use those exact words in your copy. And it's crazy that most people don't do that. They think that they have to like reinvent the whole wheel with it. No, you can simply copy and paste blocks of text that they're using and use that as your copy. And that's something that we do. And then the last principle 4 is just to make your copy scannable. People don't really read online, they kind of skim and scan. So you want to use shorter sentences, bullet points, subheadlines, bold text, icons, whatever you can do to kind of break up text to make it easy to skim through. So instead of like our advanced formula contains clinically results and then multiple studies to reduce inflammation, boost levels, like, and we go on and on and on. Or just simply break that up and say boost energy in 30 minutes, improves focus and memory, reduces inflammation. This is much easier to scan and understand than reading a whole paragraph. But again, this is not a paragraph, but because some brands have something like this, it's like that. And that's way too much. No one's gonna read that. And you're doing yourself a disservice because you actually want people to read your page and read your content. If they're not doing that, then they're not getting the information that you need or that they need to make an informed buying decision. And if they don't feel like your product can help them or if they don't know your product can help them, they're not going to buy. So it's in your best interest to make it easy for your shopper to read your copy. Scannable copy converts, stuff like this. It's all broken down. We have icons. There's nothing that's super long or daunting, right? So here's a quick recap. We got pillar number 1, choose clarity over cleverness. Pillar number 2, prioritize benefits over features. Pillar number 3 is to use their language, not industry jargon. And pillar number 4 is to make it scannable, short sentences, make it skimmable, scannable, reduce the friction when it comes to your copy and your content. And these 4 principles apply to everything that you write in e-commerce. And again, another shameless plug, get your free resources, swipe files, templates, just click the link below, throw in your email, and you'll get everything here that you see, all these resources, these Figma docs, files, and much, much more. So let's go over to like actually writing for each page type. Homepage, again, we want to be specific. So here's a basic formula that you can use, like what you do, for who, and what's your unique differentiator. So clear skincare for sensitive skin, results without irritation. The sleep solution busy moms over 35 are switching to. Again, more specificity. Then you can use headlines to add more context or proof. Stuff like dermatology tested formula is trusted by 50,000 customers, right? And then we have basic product showcase, brand story, and all that. Product page copy. Yes, you can keep your product title, like let's say magnesium supplement, but what also helps is maybe using like a sub headline or like a tag that focus on outcome driven statements. So like magnesium glycinate, fall asleep faster and wake up refreshed. That's much more powerful than just saying magnesium glycinate. Because again, people buy the solution, what your product can do for them, not the product itself. Got it? Key benefits, you can use a basic formula of some sort of action verb or some sort of like state with a specific outcome within a specific time frame. Fall asleep 2 times faster in just 7 days. That is really, really strong. It's specific to the problem, specific to the solution that they want, and a basic overview of the timetable. And same thing for the ones like FAQ guarantee. Again, you could read that right now. Landing page copy, a basic listicle formula, number of reasons why your specific audience require or desires the outcome. So 5 reasons why busy moms are ditching melatonin for the sleep solution, right? 7 things your dentist isn't telling you about fluoride. And then the reason headlines make them benefit or curiosity driven. Again, you're trying to get them to keep reading and keep digesting your information. And then an editorial headline could be something as simple as like how I achieved a particular outcome after the struggle or this problem. How I finally solved my chronic insomnia after 10 years. How I cleared my acne in 30 days after trying everything. You get the picture? Now let's go over basic 10 headline formulas that convert. Here are proven headline formulas that you can steal. These can be used as like the hero section, but also like individual sections as well. So if you have like for social proof, you can use a headline like why 50,000 busy moms switch to the sleep solution as a headline for your social proof section, right? Your secret, this can be 30-second secret to wire teeth. This could be for like your how it works section, right? Comparison, it's like coffee without the jitters. If you have a comparison table, you can use that, right? So things like desired outcome and time frame without common sacrifice, clear skin in 30 days without harsh chemicals, build muscle without spending hours in gyms, so eliminate a particular problem without a common sacrifice, or like a specific alternative or an objection or thing that happens to them. So we're eliminating and positioning the product as the superior option against all these competitors, right? Like what authority figure uses for specific outcomes. So like what Navy SEALs use for instant energy, or like what dermatologists use for their clear skin, stuff like that. Outcome or money back promise, right? So this is for a guarantee. Sleep better in 7 days or your money back. Finally, a solution for a specific problem. Get specific result and time frame for people who have a pain point or a specific desire. So again, this is just there to help you think about and kind of strategize. That's why I'm not spending too much time on this, but again, just to kind of stimulate some thoughts. Again, if you want us to build better pages for your Shopify brand, click the link below. Book a call with me. I have a link to my website. Here are some brands that we work with and all that. But before or move on to the next part, let's go to actual design, right? Part 3 is designing. So now that we have our wireframes and our copy, now it's time to take that and make it branded, right? This is the design phase. This is where we take all the boxes, the words that we written, and turn them into actual pages. And this is just the basic design principles that we use for every client. We're going to go over basic pro tips for design pro tips, hero sections, how to design buy boxes, social proof, and all that. And I'm going to show you real examples of pages that we build as well. But if you want to click this link right here, I already have it pulled up. This is the full Figma file for this video, just basic designs that we've done, just so you can kind of browse through them on your own time. But yeah, let's start with the hero section here. In this section, I'm going to be rambling a lot. This section or this part of the video is not to teach you how to design. It's just to show you examples of designs and help you kind of give you some reference, basically. So I will show you examples and I'll show Figma. But again, this is just a walkthrough of different examples and references. So the hero section is the first section that you have on your site or your homepage, for example. It's the most important part of the page because it's the section that 100% of your visitors will see. And if they don't understand what you're offering, in under 3 seconds, they're going to bounce. So this is where we talk about everything before of like being hyper specific, being clear, not using jargon, right? This is why. is because you need to communicate exactly what it is that you want to communicate. And it's like your one chance to make an impression. So let's talk about different hero sections that convert well. This is for like a listicle, for example. We have your headline, subheadline, your image. Super simple. Don't need to overcomplicate it. We have another hero section here. We have the headline, value props, call to action. And again, the reason why I'm not going to show you designs because I have this design system right here. That way you can kind of just play around with it yourself. It's in auto layout. If you want to get rid of auto layout, again, first duplicate this Figma file so you can actually edit it. But just hit Command Shift G to this and you'll remove whatever auto layout that there is. But if you are having trouble with it, you could just simply just create a frame by clicking F and then making a frame. And then just simply just taking these elements here, copying it, Command C, and just pasting it. That way you have more control over everything. That way we do something like this. We can take this call to action button, throw it there. We also obviously want it to be longer and bigger, so we can do something like that. Take the image block, maybe one is smaller. And as simple as that. Right? No need to overcomplicate this. Just take action and kind of figure it out based on your movements. But again, leverage this design system that I have to make your life much, much easier. Here's another like an advertorial section, hero section, more heroes. And here's an example from Penny Bees that we designed and built. Healthy Soul listicle. And here's a quick little checklist. For your hero sections, headline should focus on outcome. Subheadline introduce the product or mechanism. Social proof stat above the fold, specific number. CTA button is the highest contrast color, right? We'll have the nice red is the most contrasted aspect of it. CTA, copy reduces anxiety, so try, not buy. Something like discover healthy soul or shop the starter set, browse also. We have micro copy underneath. CTA addresses risk, so stuff like leveraging art. So this is like a specific like peptide, 90-day satisfaction guarantee. Make sure it's optimized for mobile, of course, and the total hero section fits in a particular screen range. So we don't want a long hero where your shoppers are scrolling multiple times to finish it. And just keep it tight, but keep it scannable as well. And here are just more examples. You'll see that they basically have the same like layout and format. We typically have like on mobile, it's stacked vertically, right? Headline, subheadline, call to action button, visual, right? And then on desktop, it goes left to right. Headline, subheadline, call to action on the left, and then the image on the right. Then we could talk about like the product grid, designing the product grid. Again, this is just basic wireframes. Here's an example of what we did. Desktop, we use 1x4 grid. Mobile, we use a 2x2. Here's the same example from Penny Bees. And then for Healthy Soul, there's another client that we work with. And then the same example from Yala Formulas. Again, get more resources, swipe files, templates, click the link. I'll leave in the description. You can get access to all this. And then designing your buy box. I'll quickly skim through this. Again, I have that design video that I mentioned before where I go much, much deeper into design. But buy box is super important. This is where the conversion happens. So this is mainly for like your product page. If you have a one product store, you can also throw the buy box in your homepage as well. But again, this is the most important section outside your hero because this is where the conversion happens. So reduce the friction to make purchasing brainless. That's the ultimate goal. Make sure you have really solid product images. Product images should not just be basic, transparent, white background images. You actually want to communicate value. So here's a basic framework, templates that you can use, kind of give you guys ideas on how to build better images. Right? Stuff like what are USPs, what it does, right? Talk about benefits, how is it different, reviews, how it works, all that. Here are images that we designed for free. Again, you see each image has a purpose. It's not just for show. It's communicating value. Number 2 is your brainless variant selection. So make the best option obvious, easy to select, to make subscriptions your default incentivized offer to maximize your LTV or your subscriptions. Offer more value to incentivize subscriptions, show savings. So basically what we're showing here is making the variant selection easy and seamless and understandable. No questions, just straight conversions. Trust signals, right? Throw trust signals like little badges here, like a 1-year guarantee or warranty, 60-day guarantee, lab tested, clean ingredients, made in USA. This is basically just to kill doubt, build trust. Also value props like this as well. And ultimately make the information scannable. So nobody reads paragraphs. So use check marks, icons, short bullet points, just to make it flow, easy to read, easy to scan, skim through, and reduce that friction. And then the last thing is adding FAQ, important information, easily accessible. So as you can see in all these different buy boxes, we have an FAQ right below the add to cart button, because these are all important questions or concerns that people might have regarding the product or the offer. and they need to get those answered before actually feeling confident enough to purchase. So that's where we want to have that easily accessible. Hidden, of course, where it's not bombarding them with crazy amount of information, but using something like accordions or drop downs where they can select it and get the information without having to scroll too much. Yep. People have questions, answer them right in the bio box with expandable sections. And here are some more examples that we've designed and built. Again, for the most part, they're relatively all the same. This is for Cheeky, and RO, and then ancestral supplements, and then Spartan Fuel. You can see for the most part, they're all the same, right? That's why using our template library is super relevant and helpful, because you'll see that these are relatively all the same too. And you can mix and match different sections that you like. If you like the drop down here, drop down on the left, you can mix and match all that. And I'll show you how to do all that in Replo in a second. Here's a basic 10-point checklist. I'm not going to go through all this. I'm going to skim through it, but this is basically to help refine what you're planning on your own wireframing before you start building. So make sure you have your brand colors defined, right? You want to pick 2 to 5 colors maximum and write down the hex codes. Again, the most luxury type of brands use 1 or 2 colors max. The more colors you have, it just looks stupid. So try to limit the amount of colors you have. And that also applies to fonts, right? You have your fonts chosen, get the actual font files. If you're using Google fonts, that's fine too. But just choose 2 fonts maximum, 1 for headings, 1 for body. Again, you want to limit the amount of fonts. You want to keep it consistent as well. Do you have your logo, right? Export your logo in PNG or an SVG format. Depending on the file size, you could also compress it to like a WebP or AVIF. So WebP or AVIF. Do you have your product photos, right? High resolution product photos, lifestyle photos, multiple angles of the product. If you're selling supplements, basic thing is showing the packaging, the bottle, showing the actual capsule, taking pictures inside the cap or inside the bottle, the label, someone holding the capsule so you can show size and relative size, someone taking it, maybe even showing inside just the more that you can kind of showcase, the better. And you want to gather all those photos into one folder, make it easy for yourself. Next, do you have customer photos, testimonials, right? Like your before and after is written, video testimonials, all that stuff, customer selfies, right? The more real you can make it, the better. Research and strategy. Who is your ideal customer, right? Stuff that we talked about. Write 1 paragraph of your ideal customer that goes through all of these that we talked about. What is your main value proposition, right? In 1 sentence, write what problem you solve, why you're better, and what's your unique differentiator. What are your customers' main objections, right? You want to list 5 to 10 to even 20 different objections, and you'll address these in those sections that we talked about earlier. Have you looked at competitors' pages, right? What do their pages look like? What do they communicate? What are their customers saying? How can you differentiate, right? So just do your research, kind of study your different competitors, note what you like, note what you don't like, pick and choose things that serve and benefit you. Do you have your wireframe done, right? Create a basic wireframe. You don't have to use Figma. You can use pen and paper. Just plan out your page. That's all I'm asking. Layout and structure. Are you designing for mobile first? Is your layout consistent? One quick thing for designing. I typically tend to go desktop to mobile for designs, but I do know that most people prefer starting from mobile and then going to design. When we get into Replo and actually developing, it's in your best interest to develop from desktop to tablet to mobile rather than the other way around, just based on how it works responsibly. I'll get into that, but that's up to you based on how you want to do it. Making sure your layout is consistent. Is your max width set? Are you using consistent spacing, right? Your padding, the margins all should be tight, and it should be congruent. Like it should be consistent, where you want to maintain the same amount of padding all around every side for every section and page that you use, right? Keep it consistent, keep it congruent, and that will make your page just more branded and more luxury just by itself, right? Yeah, pick a spacing scale, and stick to it. These are arbitrary, but again, most important thing is pick a spacing scale, padding scale, and stick to it. I'll get rid of this for you. Is your visual hierarchy clear, right? And yeah, again, these are all questions just to kind of consider, think about. Font sizes, these are arbitrary numbers. This is somebody just give basic idea of typical font sizes, but again, congruency, consistency is most important for this. Is your text readable? Line height, letter spacing. Is your text contrast efficient? So if you're using white background, make sure you use dark text, and vice versa. I tend to stay away from dark backgrounds for pages unless you have a specific reason to do so. It's typically in your best interest to use a lighter background and darker text. But you could use something like WebAIM contrast checker just to help you determine if you have to go to contrast. And again, contrast is relevant because, again, You want your shoppers to have a good user experience. So if they have trouble reading something or seeing something, that lowers experience, which then in turns lowers conversions. Font weights, are your headlines clear and specific, right? Some more color and contrast stuff. Again, I'm not going to go through all this. You guys can go through it yourself, but are using color to guide attention? Use color intentionally, not decoratively. Using white space. Your images, are they high quality? Are they optimized? Are they compressed to WebP or AVIB? You could use something like Cloud Convert, something I use, or Tiny PNG to compress your images. Product image is value driven, what we talked about before. Are you using real customer photos? Are your icons consistent? Moving on to sections and content, or let me just skim through this just in case you missed any. Sections and content, does your hero section pass the 5-second test? Show it to someone for 5 seconds and ask what the product does. If they can't tell you, then simplify it or just be more specific. Are your benefits scannable? Use bullet points, right? Is your social proof prominent? Is it relevant? Is it clear? Is your how it works simple? Right? If people don't understand how to use your product, they won't buy. Are your FAQs addressing real objections? Right? You want to read your customer service emails, your reviews, your comments, and reverse engineer those to use as your FAQ. Is your guarantee clear and prominent? Basic final checklist, your visual consistency check, go through every section. Hierarchy check, readability check, mobile check, accessibility, speed, right? How your page loads, spelling, grammar, links, make sure you have all the links properly set, brand alignment, conversion check, right? Is the plastic to purchase clear, right? Pretend you're a first time visitor, would you buy? If not, what's missing, right? And then just a basic handoff for your developer, or if you're doing it yourself, just have all your product images, your icons, logos, graphics, document your design system, like your fonts, your color palettes, button styles, all that. Any specific designs, pretty much just make it easy for your whole process. The clearer your handoff, the better results. So again, you don't need to go through all of these, but this is just a full in-depth checklist just to make sure you have everything. Again, these are for people who just want that full in-depth checklist or process, just to make sure they have and aren't missing anything. And you guys can pause and kind of go back here. Let's get to the last portion of the video, which is building in Replo. Before you actually start building, hopefully you already have your Shopify store set up. It's live, you have admin access, all that. You have your content ready, so all your copy is written, all your images are prepared and compressed, your product photos and your product itself in Shopify is set up, right? Let me actually write that down. You have admin access, product is set up in your backend. That includes like your pricing, your product images, all that. And you know your brand styling, your brand colors, fonts, styles, all that. And then we can actually get into the process of getting to Replo. So use my link right here, try.replo.app/daydreamers to get started. Simply just click that and you'll just kind of go through the basic onboarding process. You'll be redirected to Replo dashboard. Replo will sync to your Shopify store, and then your products will import automatically as well as your theme fonts. So just kind of go through the basic step-by-step process. Again, replo.app is their main site. Use this link right here if you like, and then pretty much just connect your Shopify and go from there. Start with the free plan. You don't need to buy anything right now. You can build and preview and get actual preview links. You just can't publish, but simply just start with the page, the free trial just to build, and then only upgrade when you're ready to publish the page live. But you can do everything up to the point of getting preview links and all that beforehand. So no need to worry about paying for Replo at the start. And let's go over a quick overview of the editor here. So common elements, let's go over container and flex container. So everything is going to be housed. So think of Replo, these page builders like those Russian dolls where there's a smaller one in each doll. It gets bigger, smaller to bigger, and they're just nested in itself basically. And that's what containers are. So if you look at this hero section here, we have one hero section, and some of these sections containers aren't relevant. We could even get rid of some of them, right? But again, one main container that houses two elements. What are the two elements? The left column here and the right column for the image. We'll see this accordion here, this drop down. Then we go even more granular, where we have the content here. So we have the social proof block, we have the headline, we have the subheadline, as well as the different value propositions. Again, there's so many different ways to build this where we can go even more basic, where we don't have to, we can even break this up, right? So we can go like this, we can go like this. We can get rid of that main headline, a container. And the reason why there's containers for these is to wrap individuals. So we have these stars wrapped up. So we have the main container here with all these stars, and we have this laid in a horizontal direction. If we laid it in the vertical direction, it would be vertical, right? So let's go back to horizontal direction. We also have the customer reviews on the right hand side of this column. And that's why we have the social proof container here is horizontally directed, and we have some gaps in between. So gap is basically just the spacing between whatever is nested. So we have the rating, the star rating, and then the customer review, right? And that's where we have the gap in between those. The next section is going to be the headline. And this is where we can do the fonts, different font colors, the text, right? So for headlines, subheadlines, all that, you would play on different fonts, the weight, size, line height, color, letter spacing, and tags, right? And then after that, we have the subheadline. And you'll see here that this content block is laid vertically. It's directed stacked from top to bottom. If we did it horizontally, it would go horizontally, right? And then we can remove or manipulate the gap as well. And the same thing with the button here. In fact, we can get rid of, if you might be wondering, why do we need these unnecessary containers? We can get rid of the containers if you would choose to use. Hope that makes sense. We can also manipulate specific things. Let me go over the images. So image, take an image block right here. Just click on image, and you can select whatever image you have already, right? So we're using Mangones. This is just a brand I was working with. Lazy or eager loading, everything above the fold. So in this section, it will be eager loaded. Everything below that will be lazy loaded. So in this case, these two images should be lazy loaded. This image here, lazy loaded. This image here should also be lazy loaded. Everything below the fold should be lazy loaded. Icons, go over icons. This is a check. We can use whatever icon you want. And we'll go over product block soon. But yeah, that's a basic overview of the basic sections. And of course, we can use all these other sections, components here that we have available. Text, headings, containers, images, buttons, just drag and drop. I'm going to give you guys access to templates that you'll see here. Full templates for this homepage, product page, and listicle. I'm going to give you the full sections. The page is already built inside Replo. So we'll get into that in a second. Common settings, I'll quickly go over that. But first, let me make sure that I showed you everything with the interface. So we went over the headline or the text block. Let's go over. Okay, yeah. Now let's go over everything else here. So this is standard when it comes to width. Fill available width just covers whatever the width is. So we have this might be confusing. So let's try to stick with me. I'm gonna try to explain this as easy as possible. So we have this heading container here that houses the tagline and then the customer testimonial heading. This has a max width of 730 pixels, which is why you see that the blue box is maxed out at 730 pixels. If we reset it, it's going to span the entire page, right? Because we have no max width. That's why when you set if you click on the text block, it said fill available width, it's going to span whatever the available width is, which is the available width of the container that's nested, right? If we want to do wrap content, it's not going to span the whole width. It's going to stop right when the letters start and end. Watch this. See how it wraps right here? And this is something that you're going to have to manipulate and kind of play around with. There's no one size fits all type of thing. It's all kind of just about what you need for your particular design. But that's just a basic intro of what fill available width. And of course, we could have a fixed width. Let's say we want a fixed width of like 400, where we want to really wrap it, keep it tight. That's where you can do something like that. Or again, there's so many different ways we can go about it. We can fill available width for this one. Maybe we just want the headline to be fixed, right? So then that's where we can go something like this, 400 here. That way, the whole container is still fill available width, but just the heading is wrapped 400. We can also do a max width as well. A max width, something like 400, and the maximum width would be 400. It's gonna keep going. So notice here that it's still fill available width as far as it can get to, and how much available is only 400 pixels. But once we have the testimonial word, it's gonna wrap and go right into the next line because the maximum it can go is 400. And this where I was saying before, where I hope I'm not confusing because I'm like rambling right now at this point, but just what I was saying before of when it comes to building, it's easier to go from desktop to tablet to mobile because everything cascades downward. So we'll see here that we set a max with a 400. You'll see on the tablet view will also be maxed out at 400. Same with the mobile. So whatever you do to desktop will also apply to tablet and mobile. But not everything you do or nothing you do on mobile will affect tablet and desktop because we're cascading upwards. For specific elements, it will change. But for basic styling elements like this, any change you make to mobile will not affect your tablet and desktop. Everything that you work on desktop will affect your tablet and mobile. everything you work on tablet will be reflected on mobile. That's what's in your best interest to go to work on desktop first, then tablet, and then your mobile. Does that make sense? Cool. So now let's go over like basic padding. So let's say, let's work back on this section. So let's say let's work on gap. So let's say we have like 16 pixel gap. And that's just the space between items in a flex container. A flex container is this content container that houses all of these. So everything that's in the same hierarchy. So we have the social proof, headline, subheadline, value prop, button. It's all in the same level as together within the content. So that's why whatever gap you set will be individually distributed between each of those elements, right? That's what gap is. If you want to set padding, you can do so as well. That's just the spacing between so, and then the padding on the left and right hand side. You'll not wonder why there's padding in between the image and the text, but no padding on the left and right. The reason why is because if you look at the bigger content bucket, and that's here, we have the whole content block on the left and the whole image on the right. Click on that, you'll notice that we have a gap here. Let's say we want to just remove all the gap, then it's gonna stick together. But let's say we want just 20 pixel gap there. That's what we have some space there, right? Then let's also consider that we have a max width of 1440 pixels. If we do it 1200, it will be tighter. And let's say we have different device screens. Let's say we have a smaller MacBook Air. That's where we'll probably sometimes need padding on the sides. So maybe we want some padding on the side. And if you want to change both left and right or top and bottom at the same time, just hold your option key and go up and down, up or down. And that way we can add padding on the left hand side and the right hand side of this main content block. But sometimes you'll see that it overlaps. That's why you're going to use the fill available width there, right? And sometimes it might not even fix it still. That's where you'll have to check through and make sure that each element needs to be the right sizing. So let's change fill available width to all of those. Maybe we don't like that it's on two different lines. Now we have to manipulate whatever this is to fit what we need. So let's lower the padding between columns, and let's lower the gap, the row gap. That way it has more space to breathe. And now it's on one line. So we went over the width, the height, gap, padding, margins. Don't worry about margins. I actually rarely use margins. Just stick to the padding. Of course, there's specific necessities for margins, but not to confuse you, just ignore the margins, just use padding for now. This applies to everything else here. So let's say we want to fix this one. We could even lower the font size. I think this is too big anyways. Let's do like 15. And then we can also lower the gap. Maybe want to make the star smaller. So let's do 18 pixels. Oh, geez. 18 pixels, something like that. Right, maybe reduce the line height. Okay. Maybe want to lower the font size. Maybe want to reduce the padding or the gap between each value prop. We could do so there. Maybe there's too much side padding and top padding. So instead of 30, we can go maybe 16. Maybe too much on the top. We can go 31, 30. I mean, these numbers are arbitrary, doesn't matter. But yeah, it's just to show you all that. And again, anything that you change here will not be affected on any other section or the same section on tablet and desktop on the other devices. And yeah, you can just work through everything else moving forward. Quick shortcuts: Command C is to copy elements, Command V is to paste it, Command D duplicate, and Control or Command Z to undo. So let me quickly show you. Let's say you want to duplicate sections. Just click on, let's say, a testimonial section. Just hit Command D to duplicate it. Let's say you want to copy something. Let's say you want this. So Command C. Let's say we want to throw it randomly. Let's say like right here, this testimonial section. Copy to Command C, and then just hit Command V to paste it. Maybe not, it's not working. Or we can drag and drop. But those are basic commands. Okay. Yep. Now I'll quickly show you a basic workflow of everything moving forward. So let's get right into the templates that I gave you. Let's click on the link right here. Go to visit link. It's going to open up Replo. Let me just open up I don't know which one. I think it's this one. It helps to sign in already to Replo. And once you click on that link, it's going to already have the page opened up for you. It's going to be on title. So I'll just title this homepage example. And this is the homepage that's already built for you. So we have different sections. It's already responsive for the most part to different devices. And we have the different hero sections, the category blocks, product blocks, category blocks here, and just basic sections that you can build. This should give you a basic starting point for everything to come. Again, things need to be manipulated in a way, but even for this, we can set the columns and again manipulate whatever that we need. And that's pretty much it. there's really no need to show much on this. Besides, one thing I will show you is the product container, product block here. So how to set your product or link your product. Just go to your product block there and go to configure and select whatever product you want. So let's just do Replo crew neck. We can also set dynamic elements. So let's say we want the image to be used or the image to be taken straight from whatever you set up in your Shopify backend. So just click on this dynamic data and just click on product feature. We can do the same thing for title. Just go to dynamic, click on the element, go to add dynamic data, and go to product title. We can do the same thing for pricing. It's already set. And then for the button, and for any like sub headlines categories, we can use meta fields as well. But if you have, let's say you have a description, you can dynamically set the description. If you have a bunch of different, if you have a bunch of different descriptions, you, again, use meta fields, all that. Again, that's outside the scope of this. But again, you have a lot of options. Let's say we want a little tag. Let's say we want the color. We do black, and all this is dynamic, by the way, right? If you want to embed specific review widgets, you can do so here. So Replo makes it really easy. They have a bunch of pre-made components. So let's say we want um, let's say you have Luke's, you can use the Luke's product rating and throw that right here. That way, whatever the product is connected, let's get rid of this. Hold on 1 second. Let me just manipulate this real quick. Okay, yeah. So pretty much what now this will show is we'll have tag and then like a product 4.9 stars or something like that right above it. And this is all dynamic. It's already linked. So you connect your product, Replo product, and then whatever it's set up in your backend of Shopify, it will use that that same product review widget. And then for the button, we can link the button as well. Just simply go to interactions. We have a bunch of different options. We can add product to cart. We can go to product page. If you want to go to product page for this, just simply select the product. We could even dynamically set it. So whatever it's set up in your product, the main product block, it will be used there. So redirect to product page, select the product and save. That way you click on this product or the button, it will go to that product. We can also select or set, if you click anywhere here, it'll go to the product page too. So go to product, to the product page and save. And then if you click on the image, if you click on the title, it will go to the product page as well. And that's a basic setup of products. You'll see here that you set up in the desktop, it applied to tablet as well as mobile. And again, you have to rearrange specific things that you need. But this is, again, a basic workflow showing you how to do so. Let me quickly show you the product, the listicle template right here. This is the listicle template. Again, same deal. Just edit your headline, your text blocks, your text, your content, like your visuals, your links, your colors, your branding. And it's really, it's easy, drag and drop. I have a full Replo tutorial video, which is why I'm kind of just like glancing over all these different things. I'll leave a description for that below if you want like a full insight on how to build. But with these templates should give you a really great starting point of just using these to start building. Yeah, again, I will leave templates for the homepage, a product page, as well as a listicle. Use these links here. And yeah, the last thing I will show you is once you're ready to publish, just go to the settings, make sure that you set your URL, SEO settings, like your product, your page title, description, any image you want, and then save settings and publish. And that's pretty much it. Preview, yep, that's pretty much it. So in conclusion, this is like your quick action plan recap. Part 1 is your strategy, wireframing, avoid the 3 mistakes that we talked about, understand the different page types, your homepage, product page, your landing page. You want to do your research on the 4 pillars, right? Like who your ICP is, what problems do they have, what solution they're looking for, and any objections. You want to plan the sections based on that customer psychology, right? Wireframe that before designing and all that. Part 2, copywriting. Follow the 4 principles: clarity, benefits, language, make it scannable, all that. Write for each page type, use the proven headline formulas, and address objections proactively. Part 3 is to actually design, right? Follow the workflow that we have, use the 100-point checklist, design for mobile, create your value-driven product images, and export that. Building, you could use your Shopify theme editor or Replo. Use my affiliate link here if you like. Use our free templates to save you time. Test thoroughly, set up A/B tests, improve, and all that. Basically, just follow the basic flow of strategy, copywriting, design, and then build, right? So your next steps, just to kind of recap everything here, because we talked about a lot, is to download your free resources. I have a bunch. I have the Gamma doc here in this video, but also many, many more. We have the Replo templates I'm going to give you for free. We have the design wireframe library that I have, swipe files, all that, just to kind of help you build your first page as easy as possible, right? So start with the template, follow the checklist that I provided, and then test and publish. And then moving forward, just iterate and improve, like monitor different analytics, A/B tests, and just continuously optimize. So that's a basic overview of our process, where we go from something like these. So like we have the wireframes, right, of the home page, product page, and then we just keep moving forward throughout the entire funnel. And then at the end, we'll have all like your product images set up, right? We have your home page, the different product pages, all that, right? Here's another example from Penny Bees. We have the homepage wireframe. We have the full homepage designed. We have the product page wireframed, and then the product page designed. Same with the collection page, right? And then about us, and then contact, blog, and so on and so forth. All of it starts with wireframes, moves to design in Figma, and then we build it inside Replo, right? Same thing for Vanish. We have the product page, we have advertorial, we have a listicle, right? We have a quick little landing page here, product page, advertorial. All of it started with basic content, basic assets, basic foundational wireframes, and used to then create really, really solid assets. Because then we have different design drafts, making comments, making edits, and then we have the final published pages all ready, designed and built out. So yeah, so if you want us to build pages for your brand to build you a better conversion system, websites, funnels, landing pages, all that, click the link below to talk to me directly. Again, I'll leave you the links to my website, also resources, all that. I hope this video was helpful. This was a longer video, but yeah, this is just a basic overview of our process and kind of how we build pages from start to finish. So I hope this helps. Hope you got value out of it, and I'll see you in the next one. Comment, subscribe, like. If you have any questions, just comment below. I'll try to answer them. And yeah, see you in the next one, guys. Appreciate it.